Hello and welcome again. Today is a Sunday, the 24th of May, the Sunday between the celebrations of Ascension and Pentecost. With me is Sister Therese, Deacon John, and Father Mario to give you a little bit of update about things that are happening. Certainly what's much in the news recently is the desire on the part of many for the restoration of regular services, faith prayer services, particularly for the celebration of the Eucharist. To be honest with you, we are not prepared yet to open, even on an not extended way, participation at Sunday or weekday celebrations. There are some speculations that we have, but let me start by saying that a fundamental concern here is the health of everyone who are our parishioners. Now, we're not being told, and some argue, well, the government, nobody should tell us what to do or not to do. Is that really the question? Isn't the question, is our Christian concern for the welfare and well-being of one another? And during these days, there are a number of other ways, not setting aside the importance certainly of the Eucharist and the other sacraments, there are many other ways in which we can be of assistance and help to fellow parishioners. If there are any of you out there who are watching or friends you know who do not have a telephone, either a land phone or a cell phone, please tell me, because I suspect that everyone has at least one or maybe even more. And even those of you who say, well, I'm not too I'm facile with the way this works, let's be honest. You use that phone for whatever you need, and they call you, and so therefore a lot of communication is going on. What we are hoping to do, and this is one of the projects that currently we're looking at, is to see if there is a way that we can touch at least verbally, that is by phone, fellow parishioners. And you will be receiving, many of you, we have on our list over 2,300 families, so obviously we can't get to everyone, but we will be starting as early as this coming week with those whose names begin, and I always felt bad about this myself, going to start with those whose names begin with A or B. You know, in my case, it was an S, and so I was always glad when we started with Z and moved forward. But following a very ancient tradition that's developed somewhere, we're starting the alphabet with A and B. So you will be receiving a call from a fellow parishioner, one, just to see if you're there. Please don't take this immediately, as I may have mentioned at the announcements, as a robocall. This is a real live person, and we're really interested just in chatting a little bit with you. You don't have to give all your aches and pains, but if you do have any particular ones that you perhaps would like us to pray for, or any need, and maybe a visit if the anointing of the sick is necessary. We will do anointing at home. We are not allowed to come into hospitals or nursing homes at this point, but we would be willing to do something at home under certainly very, the usual conditions, and we all know what those are. So we don't know about these things unless you call the rectory and let me know, let Father Mario know, but otherwise we can only surmise that everything is going well. And, sometimes they say absence or no news is good news. Well, maybe that's not the case. So I'm kind of hoping that you will be ready for, if you are an A or a B, getting a phone call. It serves this purpose of just knowing that you're there, that you're okay. And it's also an opportunity for us in a little way as a census to update our own records. Perhaps you have gotten a third cell phone that you could let us know about. just kidding, I know, but I hear many no longer have land phones because they carry it around with them wherever they are, and so now, if you give us this information, it remains confidential. It remains part of our parish records here. We do not give these out if you know my experience, I give to one charity, I'm suddenly on the list of 15 other charities who are thinking I'm just as generous to them as I was to the one. To the one I gave 2 cents, they think maybe I'll give 3 cents to the next one. But anyway, we will keep any information that you give confidential here in our parish records, but it does help us to kind of keep things updated. And as the government is probably aware, doing the census every 10 years, we try to do a census a little bit earlier. So whatever help you can get, but if you are really concerned when you get that and you're really upset, please just let me know and I'll help you, I hope, not to be as upset. I think that's the whole of Sister has been very helpful here in getting this together. Have I missed anything about what this should be?
I think you did really well. It was interesting when I did call a few people to see if they would be willing to make these calls. My first question was, so how are you doing? And there was always a certain, oh, sister, I'm sad. There's a sadness. I'm missing everybody and missing the church. And so hopefully there'll be an opportunity as you get this call to kind of say how are you doing and how are you feeling? And so it would be probably a very worthwhile conversation. So I think you did well, Father.
So that's the first item on our list. The one that I kind of hesitated with at the beginning is the question that I'm sure is in the mind of many: when can we be back together as a community for regular worship? Well, we need to look at this with a certain alacrity and care. We will be looking over the next couple of weeks as to how we might have some opportunities for more people to come together to pray. Those who give us the okay, go ahead and do it, that's fine. But as you know, when they said, you said, I think I'd like to have the house painted. And they all looked at you and said, that's nice. Who's going to do the paint? Who's going to buy it? Who's going to pick the color? And as then everyone had a say. You liked pink, beautiful pink house, because you didn't want it to be yellow anymore. Well, you know how that worked out. See, so as we try to find a way to effectively bring as many parishioners together for religious or mass celebrations, we need to, it's going to take a little bit of time and effort, and maybe we're even going to make some mistakes here, because there are not already established wonderful policies. And what other parishes are able to do, maybe we are not able to do, or maybe we're able to do some things that other parishes are not. It's at this point, it's a moving forward together. Now, I hesitate to say this. If you have any suggestions, email it to me, because if you get me on the phone and then I'm going to have to say, yes, I'll do what you say, and you're going to say, Father, you said it, that's not, that ain't going to work that way. But if you do have any positive suggestions about things, certainly if you are able to email or write me a letter, certainly, or to Father Mario, we will, or to Deacon John, he's always got ideas. We're willing to kind of look at those and see how we can work those out. I know the question came up about outside masses. Those are more possible, perhaps, and more people are available. But again, the problem there always is the weather. Now, I don't know why we call her Mother Nature, because we can blame it when it goes go right on her. But there are, of course, some limitations there. If it was a wonderful day, this is Sunday, it's sunny outside, and you're saying, why didn't you do it? Well, okay. So my point with a lot of words here is we will be working on this. We will have more details. about this. You can pick this up on our on our St. Mary's page. So I'll make sure that the announcements are there, that you can easily read and know what we're doing and when we're doing it. And I, along with everyone here at the table, look forward to being back together. That's the problem of what we're looking at now, is they want to separate us, and our whole idea of prayer is to bring us together. So there's a kind of irony here that in order for this to effectively work, we have to stay apart, where the whole, if you listen to the words of the prayers that we have, our Mass prayers particularly, they are not I want, me want, they are we want, us to be. See, so there's a pluralism to our prayer, which reminds us that we are a community, and the irony is that we strive how to work this out in the current situation. Do you guys want to add anything to that thought? I know Father Mario's been wonderfully working here to kind of bring it visually, and I hope that that's a benefit, but I don't know.
One of the things I want to say is we are going to start calling all of our parishioners, but our parishioners can call each other. They have the telephone, like you said. Let them start calling each other. In fact, I've found a bunch of people who are calling each other that haven't talked in years, and they're just making that phone call. That's a real positive, but go out of your way today. Maybe call one person. If everybody did that, we would all be connected again in no time. So you don't need to wait for our phone call. And we do want to talk to you. We want to see how you're doing. We want to make sure you're safe. And if there's something we can do for you here as a parish, and we do want you back as soon as we can. It's a little tough serving Mass and looking out and seeing a bunch of empty pews. We don't even have pictures like some parishes have. Maybe if you all make up pictures and leave them someplace, we'll put them in your seat somewhere, like I've heard some people do. Father Mario, anything?
Go ahead, sister.
My comment is I listened to Father Paul speak about liturgy. You know, I really truly do miss the assembly. It's not like, Christ is present in different forms, but also in the assembly. And it is a big absence. It's a huge absence, the gathered assembly. And so I look forward to the time we can come together again, because the assembly, the church, is the people of God. And without having the people of God present, it really is difficult to feel like you're at Eucharist, because we are part of the experience. So, we all look forward to this, and, it is the other day I was kind of, we as Felician sisters, once a month, we're asked to make a day of retreat. We're asked to stop all of our activity and just kind of take time to be still and see what's going on within us and around us. And I did this on Saturday, and I wrote down some of the things that I'm missing. And a big part was the assembly, but of course family and activities, and there's so many things that make me sad right now. And so I think it's good for us to do that, to take some time and journal what is making me sad, because if we don't own it, it can come out in kind of passive-aggressive behaviors and things. So as we figure out how to come back, it's probably really good for us to kind of sit down also and look at the things that we are missing.
Yeah, we need to remember, too, that the church is more than just the building. It's more than just us. We're with people all the time. Those who've gone before us, they're with us. We don't get to see them, but we get to feel their presence. We get to pray with them and for them. They get to pray for us. So it's that person who's already gone from this earth. Let's treat each other the same way. We can't get together right now, but we can pray with each other, and we can think about each other. We can care about each other. But go ahead, get on the phone, email each other for those of you who want to do the emailing. But go ahead and start calling each other.
Well, all right. I guess they're looking for me to say something more. Certainly, I would be remiss if I did not thank those of you who, for various reasons, got sucked into events this past Friday with my Now, I know how many of you celebrate birthdays, don't you out there? Many of you, I'm sure, have set a limit, and I tried to set a limit, but they didn't allow that. But for those who joined in, I certainly thank you for that. Tomorrow is Memorial Day. I often reflect that the meaning of Memorial Day was really seriously changed when in 1968, in more recent times, because we like 3-day weekend holidays, moved the original observance of Memorial Day from May 30th, when it was first established back in 1868. And the reason why it was actually chosen, do you know why the date May 30th was chosen? Because it was a day on which there were no battles being fought or remembered as coming out of the Civil War. And so the general who founded this thought that that would be a good day not only to remember all of the soldiers and sisters and brothers who died both in the throughout the time of the war between the states, would be remembered. So that's why that day, and I often thought that it was important that that May 30th would move to different days of the week. It might be on a Tuesday one year, another time on a Friday, but for the sake of convenience, we moved it to a Monday so that now we had Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I think what happened there, just an observation, is we lost the meaning of it. It now is considered by many to be the official beginning of summer. So from now on, you can wear white shoes or whatever you used to do in the old days. But ask young people if they know what it is. Now, certain organizations continue to keep the sense of the day, honoring those who died in one of our wars. Originally, this was known also, those of you really date yourself if you remember that it was called Decoration Day, but the idea was to decorate the tombs of those who had died in the war with some symbol of honor. It would be the American flag. This, of course, has caused considerable controversy in more recent times, because in some parts of our country, the flag that they place there is not the flag that has 50 stars and 13 stripes, unfortunately. So that has caused some concern. But for us, and we have added then all of those who lost their lives during any of the conflicts that we as a country were involved in, the wars of the 20th century, and right up to some battles that are still going on in the 21st century. So although we honor our dead, our family members on this day, originally it was to remember those who had lost their lives in service to our country in one of our wars. And for that reason, many of the advocates for this day earlier on saw it as a day to pray for peace, that there would not be a need for continued loss of life in battles in order to solve problems that, in the end, as you know, the end of one war, historians say, at least that's what I hear, is simply the beginning of another war. There is never a just peace. Somebody is always accused as being the instigator of it, and therefore suffers a penalty, and that only gets them angry. We're looking again at future war. If you don't believe me, look at what's going on in Afghanistan, particularly. But that's way off the subject, is to say that certainly Memorial Day was considered to be a day of prayer. Family would gather to pray for their beloved ones who died. There's nothing wrong. Certainly, they both start with a P, namely prayer and picnic. There's no reason why you can't do both. And of course, organizations have processions or parades, so therefore you have another P. There's nothing wrong with all of them, but do sometimes we forget prayer? Do we have our first hot dog for the season, but not even say a prayer before we eat it? Just a thought. I don't know. I think Father Mario would like to add to that a little bit.
Yeah, there are some people are still confused about the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. So if you can look at in your screen right now, I have a picture, the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day is for them, those who lost their lives, and Veterans Day is for him. So you can see it in your screen. For those who are still alive, we remember those veterans. And tomorrow, if you know someone in your family or friends or loved ones that we want to be included in our prayers, we are going to do a slide show tomorrow, the names for those who serve in our countries. So I will put it in the video. Jennifer and I will be working with that. And also we have a Memorial Day prayer service, and it will be broadcast also right after Mass tomorrow. So what's our Mass tomorrow? Live. And again, if you know someone who wants to be included in our prayers, please feel free to email me or to any of us here, so that I will put those names in the screen, so that you will surely be remembered, not only on the live streaming Mass, but at Mass itself. So yeah, that's just two things. And then I was thinking about, I remember someone, a philosopher, who once said that our daily life is a constant battle, but how you begin that battle of your daily life. So the best weapon that we can use in our daily lives is a prayer. And that's like Father Paul is saying, it's not the first, maybe I put it capital P and small p. A capital P would be prayer, and a small p will be picnic. So the best weapon that we can use in our daily lives is capital P, prayer. So a day without a prayer is like going to the field in a battle without a weapon. So that's my thought. And again, on Friday we celebrated Father Paul's birthday. And again on your screen, there are some beautiful pictures that you can see. You can see Kim, the principal, with Father Paul standing with that big sign, Happy Birthday, Father Paul. Maybe you can see it later. It's a huge one. So, and again, also it's Father Paul's priestly or sacerdotal anniversary. So if you didn't send your birthday wishes or birthday cards or birthday gifts, the rectory is still open. So it's not late. So every day is a celebration of life. So for those who wish him a birthday, he is the man. So don't forget to send your birthday wishes and birthday greetings.
Drive through the parking lot. Beep
That's
your
right.
Horn.
Yeah.
12,
Just
1
give us
o'clock in
a
the
horn.
morning. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just drive through, beep the horn. Let them know you're here.
If he thinks he's going to get an increase in pay for all of that, he is sadly.
And yeah, on Father Paul's birthday, it's also in your screen right now, where you can see Sister Therese is, she made, what was that, Sister? Peanut butter
Peanut butter pie.
Peanut butter pie. Oh, that was delicious. So if you want to order a peanut butter pie, how much is that, Sister? $20?
Exactly.
Okay, it's $20. It's terrific. So I'm sorry you didn't able to taste it. So I think Bob is looking for it. So Bob, just call Sister Therese if you want a peanut butter pie.
For Bob, it's $50 a pie, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we are so sad that we cannot really celebrate a big birthday party for Father Paul. But again, I am truly grateful for those who are joining the parade. So that was awesome. I was so touched by that, even if that's not my birthday. So I feel being in touch with us people who are so generous to spend their time pass by for the parade.
And now, Father Mario, they are going to want to know, when is your birthday?
That's a good question. My birthday is July 17th.
17th?
Yes.
Got that? July 17th?
17th.
Okay.
I will be turning 23. No, just kidding.
I just want to share how our family celebrates Memorial Day. It was always a cemetery visit, and my dad would fix up the cemetery of his parents and my mom's parents, and then we would also say a prayer. We always said, as a family, we said a prayer at all the graves for the people who had died. It's a memory that I will always have of our family.
And there was a tradition, and perhaps in some cultures this still goes on, that on the day of the death of a loved one, the family did gather at the place where their loved one was buried, and they did often have a meal. They did celebrate that. We have evidence in the, going back to the 1st and 2nd centuries that that was one thing that Christians used to do to remember their honored dead. So there is a way, Father, to connect prayer and picnic so that they equalize a little bit. But anyway,
There was one thing that some family asked us to address today, and I think Father will address it. The question came from a faith formation family. What happens when parents pick sponsors or godparents for their children, and those godparents move away and leave town or leave the state and kind of forget about that child, and these parents feel really bad about their child not having kind of godparents who are involved in the life of their child. And so I asked maybe Father could give some insight into that.
well, certainly the role of godparents, and originally they were called sponsors, were those who agreed that they would be caring for the person who they sponsored. In this case, when it's a child being baptized, that idea of godparent is that as they grew up, they would offer them whatever spiritual support they could do. Now, if the issue is, well, we had a godparent, but that person chose not simply to move away, but chose not to be very active in the life of my child anymore, can we get someone else to take their place? That really would probably not be something we can do. Your baptismal record stays the way it was when you were baptized. But, as Sister points out, you could find someone to take their place, particularly if they've abrogated it, either because they've moved away or because they've chosen not to do it. So yes, you can be a great sponsor to helping a young one grow up in the faith, and maybe you could call them a second godparent or something like that. But we can't go back to the church record. Once in a while in the past, someone has said, I just don't like that person anymore. I hate them. At the time, she was my best friend. Now she's my worst enemy. Take her name off. Well, we can't do that, but we can continue, as sisters suggest, offer that support and encouragement. So we do want to, any last words?
Yeah, last minute someone is asking when is Sister Therese's birthday. I think June 26. I got it. So June 26. And also yesterday was Deacon John's 5th anniversary as a deacon, right?
Yep.
So when is your birthday also?
Sometime in February,
Sometimes 30?
21st.
21st.
I was going to say you have 28 chances, or in a leap year, 29.
So I think that's it.
But I'm getting that age where I already forget when my birthday is.
Well, once again, we thank you for being with us today. Hope that you have a good week. Hope that you can join with us tomorrow and be with us next weekend again.